Good day, everyone. Before we start our discussion, let me introduce ourselves first. So, I am Eliezer Anwar, and I am working with these two single ladies, Cherilyn Sikuya and Marianne Antiquando from BE Ed 1A, representing Group 1. For today's topic, we are going to talk about the nature of a man in Western and Oriental thinkers. Western and Oriental thinkers, also known as Western philosophy and Oriental philosophy or Eastern philosophy, contribute differently to human life. Now, nature of a man denotes the fundamental dispositions and characteristics, including ways of thinking, feeling, and acting, that humans are said to have naturally. Denote the essence of humankind or what it means to be human. What is the essence of human nature? Human nature is the essential essence of who we are collectively as human beings. Now, by Socrates about human nature, he believed that the only life worth living is a life that is persistent in seeking good character. Socrates view knowledge and character developmentally linked, and Socrates are named father of philosophy for his contributions to the development of ancient Greek philosophy, which provided the foundation for all of the Western philosophy. And the characteristics of Western philosophy is the modern Western philosophy has not only critical about orthodox religion, but also came with ideals of secularism, humanism, scientific temperament, progress and development. Skepticism, rationality, individualism, and scientific methods are influence the human conception in understanding the world.
Nature of man in Western philosophy. Western philosophy. Western thought has shown that science is intersubjective value free and involves a spirit of critical thinking, claims that all humans have rational spirit self that is distinct from the material body, has a purpose, endure over time, and exists as a separate individual. So sa Western philosophy, lahi ilahang description sa human nature. Like para nila lahi ang ato ang material body sa ato ang soul. Murag both gani naa sila yung reason nga nung nag-exist sila pero separate lang kunuhay. But in reality, same body, same soul. So Western philosophers, according to Socrates, for him, he sought to discover the truth and the good life. So para niya, imbis na magpaka-pessimistic ka, why don't you try to be good to others and stop meddling with their lives, di ba? Para smooth imong life o ganang walay daghang criticisms and judgment. While Plato described the soul as having three parts, which he calls reason, spirit, and appetite. So, naman ni siya before sa ato ang understanding the self, so, mana to. While Epictetus' Stoic view of man, man can be enslaved on the outside externally and be free internally. So, nakaingon siya nga enslaved ta externally kay we are staying in our body man. So, dili pareha sa atong soul nga free. Like, free to express. And then, kung mapalabian po express, ang ato pong external or ang physical body po ang sa tanan. So, dapat yun balance siya. So, according to Plotinus, he believed in the source of all creation called by him the One. So, para ni Plotinus, na-adjoy the One. Pero wala siya maingon specifically kung unsay pangan. Basta as long as, ang kana siya nga the One, maunay, ga-create na to, o maunay na sa center. So, according to St. Augustine, this doctrine is against Pelagianism, that infants could not be guilty. So, kung maingon tang Pelagianism, it comes from the word Pelagian, which means a Christian Orthodox denying original sin. So, di ba, as far as I know, wala gisala ang bata. Until she reached the age of 7, in which ko anagid siya, kanang nanagid siya saktong panghuna-huna nga pwede makasala. So, according to Saint Thomas Aquinas, he believed in the following: every agent acts for an end, every agent acts for good, all things are directed to no one end, which is God. So, basically, we are in our temporary assignment, which is our life. So, asam ta paingon so sa ending yun, which is adto ni God. So, according to Rene Descartes, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. So, moingon ta nga I think, therefore I am, ikaw ug ikaw ra gyud ang gadala sa imuhang self o dili ang laing tao. Kuan man, we are driven by our thoughts and enslaved by our action man. So, wala ta i-blame kundi atong self. Mura ni siya me versus me, mo na nga dapat gini mo i-pinpoint asa jud. According to John Locke, he regarded the mind of a person as birth as a tabula rasa. So when we say tabula rasa, it means a mental blankness, having no innate ideas, smooth or erased tablet or mind. Next is Jean-Jacques Rousseau. For Rousseau, man is born free and everywhere he is enchained. So these invisible chains can be considered as death. While Max Keller believed in the emotional powers in man and values. Okay, sometimes ba itong sa tuwang ka-soft-hearted and sa mga values nga ato ang na-learn, kay ma-learn na lang po tao give way, ganon. Muna nga learn when to fight and when to give up. So according to the Western philosopher Thomas Hobbes, he believed that in man's nature state, moral ideas do not exist. Thus, in speaking of human nature, he defines good simply as that in which people desire and evil as that which they avoid. At least in the state of nature, Hobbes uses this definition as basis for explaining a variety of emotions and behavior. So according to Karl Marx, religion is the opium of the people. Our religion and faith became the drug that made us go throughout our lives. While Friedrich Nietzsche, he insists that Superman is the only man who can live in the world without. So obviously Superman is a fictional character. So dili gid siya moto ni God, but God is not an illusion.
Nature of man in Oriental philosophy.
Oriental philosophy focuses upon the problem of human finitude and the notion of wisdom. Oriental philosophers have rightly criticized the scientism in Western thought. These and constructivism, both of which are especially blatant in Marxism, have combined in the West with a tendency to totalize liberal ideas. This has resulted in a loss of practical reason and a crisis of meaning in human life. The lack of meaning and absence of a concept of wisdom in the Western world offer an occasion and opportunity for dialogue with the Oriental tradition.
Oriental philosophers. The Hindi view of man, according to this view, man possesses the Atman or soul, the highest aspect of what is understood as the principle of life. Atman is one of the most basic concepts in Hinduism. It is the universal self, which is identical with the eternal core of the personality that, after death, either transmigrates to a new life or attains release from the bonds of existence. Hinduism is more than a religion, it is a culture, a way of life, and a code of behavior. This is reflected in a term Indians use to describe the Hindu religion. Atman is the innermost essence of man. Man is seen as consisting of five shiyats. First is self, which is dependent on food, or they called anamayatman, which is a material layer known as the physical or corporeal self, the self as the vital breath. Next is the pranamayatman, the biological layer, the other self, consisting of will. Then we have Manamayatman, the psychological layer, the self or consciousness. Next is the Vijnamayatman, or the intellectual layer, the final essence of the self or the pure bliss. Last is the Anandamayatman, approximates the Brahman, which is pure bliss. Man in Buddhism. According to this view, Man is subject to the law that all things rise, decay, and fall. There is no soul. In this view, Buddhism, there is an emphasis of absence in the permanence in life. They believe that anything nice, sweet, or amusing that came our way was immediately experienced as a bonus, a deeply gratifying addition to its original. Buddhism teaches us the art of cheerful despair. In Buddhism, a man is just given for the totality of the five aggregates that compose the individual. First is the matter, sensation, perception, mental constructs, and consciousness. In this religion, the final goal of man is to attain enlightenment, to free himself from the bands of ignorance. Through yoga, man is freed from ignorance and he reaches nirvana. Next is man in Confucianism. Man is regarded as moral being and as a social being, which means a true man is a noble man, a superior man, and such a man is said to be a man of Zen, or human-heartedness, a man of all-round virtue. In Confucianism, man is expected to possess four virtues: human-heartedness or Jin, righteousness or Yi, ritual or propriety or Li, wisdom or Chik. Next is the Taoist view of man. It advocates what is natural and spontaneous, simple and necessary. According to this philosophy, that which by anything and everything comes to be is the Tao. In Lao Tzu book, it is said that from Tao there comes one, from one there comes two, and from two there comes three, and from three there comes all things. Tao is generally understood as the power of principle behind all things. It is oftentimes called the non-beings. According to this philosophy, everything that exists in the universe needs the whole universe as a necessary condition for existence. Things are ever changeable, but the laws governing this change of things are not themselves changeable. Taoism has two levels of knowledge, the lower level and the highest level. In the lower level, the finite point of view, when man sees distinction like those between right and wrong. In the higher level, which is the higher point of view of knowledge, man sees things in the light of heaven. The Tao or Tao is sometimes called the way of life. Regarding with the people, they should behave more cooperatively and less competitively. We should live in such a way to minimize the adverse impact on both the natural environment and human society. It is therefore a holistic philosophy requiring an understanding of the ever changing balance between human activity and the environment.